Alrighty, folks. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you may be. My name is Bojan Petreski. Today is October 18th, 2023. We are live with our monthly trading and review session for this month of October. And boy, what a crazy month it has been. Um, Before we get started, of course, this is, please do go ahead and join on our chat room here. The link is right here below, and you can also see the number right here, the code to join today's chat room. And then, of course, as usual, this video is for educational and instructional purposes only. This is a demonstration of using demonstrating a method of using the product that we have, which is, of course, our auto UFOs and auto climate, our proprietary and patented technology that we utilize for trading. I'm going to go ahead and get a couple of these things out of the way so we can have a clearer picture. And of course, I am going to leave the chat room key QR code there. You can actually scan this with your phone to join with your phone. Or if you want to do it the way I have it, you can just go to speakup.info, web.speakup.info, and, and input the code. All right. So typically the way we do these sessions is we take a look at some of the trades that we've taken at the past session, go over any questions or comments or concerns that anybody may have during the session that's joining us live, because we'll always, give priority to folks joining us live for spending their time with us. And then we're going to go into looking for some trades, setting up a trade, managing it while we're here in the session, and making sure we follow proper protocol in everything we're doing step by step. So let's go ahead and get started with the first item here, which is looking over reviewing some of the trades that we've taken from before. So last time I remember it was a fairly slow session. We did end up getting on, I think it was two trades. One of them, which was a crude oil trade, which, of course, here's a screenshot. Crude oil ended up leaving without us over here. So we ended up canceling this trade, right? It did end up going a little bit too far. And then, of course, even if it did come down, it wasn't going to line up with our setup. So therefore, we had to skip on it and move on to another trade. And then let me just double check something here, because last time I did have, okay, we're good. Should be good. Okay. So that was for that crude oil trade. Again, us as traders, we do have to say, in my opinion, we do have to say no more often than we have to say yes. Just because, we need a very specific setup, and we need very specific rules and things to align, both price action, whether it's news or something else that's also moving the markets, need to align for us to be able to execute on a trade. As you see right now, I do have the ES open, not unmistakingly so. I thought we may see a trade here, but it just didn't quite line up with what we typically like seeing. If you've been at any of my sessions before, you do know that I like to be in a trade, preferably get our safety target, our T1, out before the market open, especially if we're trading, equities futures. In the meantime, though, let's go ahead and take a look at the other trade. I know we did have a setup on the pound dollar. I'll be very honest with you. I kind of forgot about this one, so I'm gonna pull up. TradingView to see what exactly happened on this one. Just because you get the alerts and everything gets canceled, but it doesn't look like I took a screenshot of it, which is very I usually take a screenshot of anything that happens to anything I'm trading, but let me pull up the chart here for TradingView and take a look and see exactly what happened here. All right, let's reset our chart here. So we're looking at the pound yen. Now our setup was for the 1 hour. All right, so I'm going to pull this up here. So this is where we're loaded. And of course, we said this was September 20th. Okay, there it is. Looks like we were trying to go long, and this may have either been a stop out or a time stop. Let's see what happened. All right. Looks like it may have just been a stop out. Looks like a big red candle there at 11. Wasn't this supposed to expire by 11? For some reason, I remember something like that. But nonetheless, let's go ahead and take a screenshot of this because documentation is key to success. I'm not sure how I'm mistaking my screenshot here. But as we see right there, we had a setup. This ended up selling off fairly rapidly. And not only that, but it looks like after this candle closed here, the climate ended up getting changed. So we're going to go ahead and save this here. And we're going to call it, this will be 2023-09-20 GBP USD 1 hour exit stop loss. There we go. Now we have it documented and everything is right with the world. All right, so that was that for last time. It was a fairly slow session, if I'm going to be perfectly honest with you. And I just realized we do have a trade here. So let's go ahead and put this on, and I'm going to explain the trade as we go along. So, and that's the reason why I did have this open. I like the, okay, there we go. We're already filled. Let's go ahead and set this up properly. Okay, just double checking. Looks like our stop is in the clear across the board. Now we have to move our T1 and our T2 accordingly. So let's go ahead and do that as we go along, and then I'm going to explain the trade. Well, we don't have any UFOs nearby. It's a little odd. Just want to make sure everything's good with the indicators here. Yeah, everything's good. Okay, so that's that. Let's just quickly do the math that we need to have on our stop here. So 43.88, our entry was at 43.8125, 6.75. 25, so 74.5 is actually where we need it to be. Now our final, and then of course we're just going to take a quick screenshot of this. So we're going to call this 2023-10-18 ES 15-minute setup entry. So a couple of things that need to be taken into consideration, right? And then of course, if you're joining me for the first time, you're like, what just happened? What the hell's going on here? A setup presented itself, which I'm going to explain right now. That is currently still valid. So a couple of things are occurring in the market, right? The conditions are right for an entry. And those conditions are the following. The first thing, I'm looking at my audio here and audio is good. Jeff, can you confirm that? Because I triple checked my audio and it said it was good. I'm just gonna go ahead and confirm again, but I double checked it and everything seemed good. But of course, if one person is saying it's not good, then we gotta make sure we are good. Um, 1 second here. All right. In the meantime, I'm just gonna keep an eye on here. So 1, 2, 3. Right there is our setup there. Okay. And yep, I just triple confirmed that now audio is good. So Jeff, double check on your side if there's something going on. But I just double checked it on mine and everything's looking good. So, I did have a snafu last time where I pretty much went the first 15 minutes and my computer had, because I cleaned up some of the caching cookies and it ended up reverting to a different microphone than what I'm typically using. So, yeah, that's why I wanted to make sure triple check before we continue forward. So, explaining this trade, right? A couple things aligned, right? Market conditions plus our signals, our indicators, our trading software that's giving us the right information aligned for us to get in this trade. What is the first thing we look at before we even look at anything else? That is this lower left hand chart right here that is giving us the auto climate. You can think of the climate as a much, much, much more powerful trend, right? So, trend plus, let's call it. The reason why I call it trend plus, or I think I personally believe it's a lot more powerful than trend, is because, trend goes and goes and goes until what point, right? It's very hard to measure trend. Why? Well, it all becomes into point with perspective because if you zoom out far enough, then you can confuse yourself. At least that's how it was for me when I was, starting trading. Um, look at trend and you're like, okay, well, this picture says trend is up. And if I go, far back enough, that trend is now a mixed bag. Right now, it's a little too high on the curve, plus this, plus that, and the other stuff, and then, of course, you get paralyzed. What I like about autoclimate is that it gives you information you can utilize to be able to determine that for yourself, right? It is currently telling us that it's currently, a confirmed down climate, right? So this is a down climate because it is a thick ruby dot and it is currently on the second 15-minute increment, right? Because the climate is currently on the 15-minute. It is the second 15-minute increment out of typically 5. All right. I mean, I think that's just really powerful. Okay, I just realized we just went past this for a second. I have to close this at market because of another rule that we utilize, which is called a time stop. I'm going to explain that in just a minute. Um, Realistically speaking, though, this trade is still valid, so you could actually enter this trade again. I'm going to put my order in right there where I got stopped out because, again, rules are rules. All right, looks like we're good on this end. Um, oh, and I stand corrected. We are not good to go. If anybody who's joining me live can just type it in the chat group why we're not good to go, I would very much appreciate it. But we are not good to go to execute this trade. All right, I'm going to move on. The reason why we entered that trade earlier was because, we had permission to do so, That permission comes from the auto climate, right, over here. And before I move along, I'm just gonna take my screenshot, 2023, 18, exit times of. The reason why we're not good to go to take this trade anymore is because the auto climate is unconfirmed. All right, so that's exactly right. The auto climate is no longer a thick red dot, and therefore we have no permission to take any trades anywhere here because this climate is an unconfirmed climate, right? So just so everybody's, with me on this, make sure to understand when the climate is unconfirmed, we do not trade. That means that it is not a favorable climate to be trading in right now. Wait for a confirmation. And sometimes you're going to miss the boat, and that's fine. We're not going to catch them all. And that's quite okay. You need to be okay with that. Sometimes you're going to catch falling knives. That's okay. If your trade plan says to take it, you have to take it. Um, But bottom line, the reason why we took that trade earlier is because we had a confirmed climate along with our auto UFOs, right? Our proprietary patented technology. That's these guys. We're aligning with the 9 exponential moving average from the 50-minute time frame. So in case that sounds a little confusing and in case that sounds a little um, over the top for you, think of it this way, right? Our technology and our software we utilize, right? Our subscribers and our team uses this. However, out of the million of traders and companies out there, and investment firms, everybody, that's not a lot of people, right? So you could say that our indicator and our technology here is uncommon, right? We have an edge because it gives us an edge, but it is uncommon. So it's not, and what I say uncommon is I say that in a manner of it's not available on every platform as the default option, right? Auto UFOs, right? Default options are moving averages, Bollinger Bands, you name it, any one of those, RSI, stochastics, right? Any one of those is a common indicator. It's a commonly available on every platform out there. Most likely, I would say 95% of platforms out there are going to have very similar indicators that are common, which means they're more utilized by everybody out there. So the 9 exponential moving average is commonly available. It is very commonly used. So therefore, we combine that 9 exponential moving average with, right? So that common indicator, let's call it right here, and I'm just going to put this right here. So common indicator, the 9 EMA, we combine that with our uncommon indicator, the auto UFOs, right? So we combine those two things over here on this chart and allowed us to execute a trade. All right, so that was the permission we need to be able to, is that combination of instruments. I'm giving us the go ahead, and then that 15-minute common time frame aligning with our uncommon indicator, the auto UFOs. All right, just it's and again, you can certainly, you're more than welcome to experiment with utilizing different common indicators from this 15-minute time frame. I would say is a bit more. It's I would say it's recommended. Um, because we have an edge based on these indicators here. You're more than welcome to experiment with your own. Maybe you like Bollinger Bands, maybe you like fib retracements. Any one of those that is a common indicator. Combining it with an uncommon indicator, I feel like that gives you a fairly powerful um, solution and scenario. All right. So that's that for this one. Let's take a look at the Nasdaq. Nasdaq is looking, I would say, just about the same as the ES, except that it is still in a confirmed down climate. Um, Unfortunately, though, for us, we do not have a UFO anywhere near the common indicator, the 9 EMA, and so we simply have to sit on our hands. All right. Um, that's for the Nasdaq. Now the Dow is actually looking stronger than the two of them. It is currently in an up climate. And while it is in an up climate, we have permission to go long. The unfortunate part of the whole deal is that there are no UFOs that we can utilize to go long on. Now, what could happen, which is again, it's going to align with the market open, which is where we'll see a big injection of fluidity. Um, we may see, um, I think we'll definitely see a push up to the exponential moving average. By how much we'll see based on movement, in the next 7.5 minutes. But we may see something along the lines of this moving average actually moving into this UFO here. If I'm being very honest, though, this UFO will most likely disappear because it's currently being used up, very much like the one that just was here and got used up. And there are no more unfilled orders at that location. Um, so that's the first thing. As that moving average moves up, and if there's price movement from there, like we're seeing right now, we could see a reiterated UFO, basically another UFO form. And then as the moving average moves up and recalculates in exactly 6 minutes and 40 seconds, we could see a setup on the Dow. However, we're gonna have to wait for that and see what happens. All right. Hmm, the Russell is looking a little weaker than the rest of them. Still in a very confirmed down climate, fourth one out of five. The unfortunate thing about it is that if we were to take this trade over here at 1766.4, realistically speaking, our stop wouldn't be until all the way up here at 1770.3. And that's just the reality of it. That wouldn't be a safety target at that point. That would be what we move to the downside to be able to make it. So we're gonna go ahead and pass on that. And then down, on my other screen, I do have the market analyzer, which basically tells me like where things are going and how things are going. Um, we see crude oil and gold are currently, we're just late. We see that it's 9 out of 30 counts crude oil, and then gold the same, 23 out of 12. The only one that might be um, approaching anything would be the euro. The reason why I don't really, care for it too much because again, it's an unconfirmed climate in the negative spread right now. So that means it was confirmed and it's trading below the moving average, which means again we're gonna have to wait for the moving average to recalculate 4 minutes 40 seconds before we can potentially see a trade opportunity. All right, so yeah, a little bit of hurry up and wait, just a little bit of that. Like the ES is kind of sitting right where we exited, really. Um, a fairly wide UFO up here, as we see, 2.5 points. If if in 3.5 minutes, we do have a confirmation to the down climate, we can take this UFO if it remains. Um, it's almost, used up because it ended up touching into it, so it's not quite the best of scenarios, but it still is there, which means there are leftover orders that need to be filled. Right? In the meantime, before, we get to the start of the day, a couple of tabs that I feel like you should almost always kind of either have open and just be on the lookout for, is to make sure that you have, trading the right contract. So making sure that you're trading, of course, crude oil making headlines, mainly because of the in the Middle East between Israel and Palestine. Um, as we see, crude oil has skyrocketed and it keeps moving quite a bit over the past several days. And there are world events that influence quite a bit of the world. And then, of course, FXtrade.com, the economic calendar, just so you know what's going on during the day. If there's any high impact news and when they're happening, is always an important item to be on the lookout for, especially especially if you're trading forex and there's any one of the currency pairs that you're trading has news. I would say definitely be on the lookout for those items because it is important to be aware of them because they could move price to where you want it to go, but especially if the market receives those news as unexpected or uncertainty, it could potentially get you out of a winning position. All right, we're about a minute away from the open. Let's get ourselves ready for it and see what we can come up with. See if the market gives us anything here with the ES. Um, we will see. In the meantime, I'm just looking on my other screen if there's any forex or crypto trades that we might want to look at, just in case things are slow on the um, futures front. Okay, now we may have a setup here on the dollar franc, which we're going to go over as soon as we see how this pans out. All right, we have a confirmed down climate. Unfortunately, the moving average is right there where there's no UFOs. So we're just going to cycle through the rest of them. Let's take a look at the NASDAQ. Same thing, confirmed down climate. However, there is a UFO here. So I'm going to go ahead and take this. Um, sell might run away with us from us. Uh, we're just gonna have to be kind of very quick on the trigger for this to move our stop. And I really should have just taken it at market, but I didn't. I don't know why. Um, I just saw it already trading in there. I said, hey, we're gonna get a better fill. Really, we could take it as low as 51.3775. Just that our stop would have to be a little bit above this UFO at 47.25. But we'll see what happens. Okay, we're filled. We're gonna have to move that a little bit and do some quick math. So 75 minus 137.75, we're looking at 10 points. So that's gonna be at 27.75 where it is right now. And our final target, there's no UFO here, so not much else to do other than wait this out and of course take a screenshot of it. An easier way to do this, especially if you're doing high frequency stuff, is just to record your screen and then pull the screenshots from there. Set up entry. All right. We do have a new UFO forming down here, which is great for us. Um, Price would have gotten our T1 earlier if we had jumped on this on time, but it looks like it may end up going that way anyway. Let's take a F7 here. That was our candle of entry. Now we're gonna just move this down, not because that's our goal, but mainly because that's where we're gonna have to do a trail stop. Okay, looks like this may be a stop out. Oh well. And there it is. That's unfortunate. It's only 23, but that's also trading. Thank you. 50 million. Exit. Stop. If we had executed a little bit faster with a market order, we would have been out for T1, and then this would have just been a break even. But unfortunately, we were a bit slow on the trigger, and that's quite okay. Now it's trading above the moving average. I want to see what the Dow's doing. It's actually fallen below the moving average. So nothing really to do here. Let's go back to the ES. See what the ES is up to. Um, okay, it's a confirmed climate, but we're so close. But we're literally one take away from it being able to be executed in these UFOs, so we can't exactly take that trade. Um, okay, NQ is just doing this thing. The Dow is sinking lower. The Russell is just on a tear to the downside. All right, so NQ may give us something here, but doesn't look like it will. Looks like the rest of them are sinking lower while Nasdaq is shooting higher. Um, if we look at the heat map on the Nasdaq composite, we're seeing and I just have this pulled up on TradingView. Just looking at the heat map of what it's looking like, it's nothing crazy. There are some deep reds, but nothing unusual. But something is definitely moving it. Okay, let's take another look at nothing on crude, nothing on. So let's take a look at the euro real quick. And right, it looks like we do have a trade on the euro, which I'm gonna take at market. We're gonna tighten up our stop here. We always do two ticks above the UFO for the euro. Um, our T1 is of course a 1-to-1. So oh, 5825, 105.73 is our T1, and our T2 is way down there at 105.440. So let's take a look. So 105.440 is our T2, and so go ahead and take a screenshot of this. 123 and 15. This is the 6E 15-minute setup entry. All right. We're going to put our this guy here. We have, you know, 1, 2, 3 bars. I'll let this go to our one. Otherwise, we're going to close it um, at market. Something seems odd though here. 1592 minus 5825. 90, you know, 195. So why is it 825? All right, just got myself a little bit confused here by some of the calculations, but I think we're all good to go now. Um, uh, we're gonna have an update to the climate in about 6 minutes or so. And let me just pull up some of my. Okay, so the euro is kind of doing its thing. It's not really giving us much else. Okay. I don't know why. Just when I was looking at this, it just this this distance to entry to stop just did not visually look equal to me, and I was like, something's good, something's wrong here, something's not calculating properly, and no, it is. It's all good. I just, you know, sometimes I can kind of get a little dead set on things just because, you know, if something looks wrong, then it must be wrong, but that's not always the case. So yeah. Anyway, continuing onwards and upwards. What do we have here? So I was looking at this. I can find on which tab I put it on. Yeah. So I was looking at a forex trade while we were kind of waiting on things to develop. The trade that I was looking at was this dollar Swiss franc hourly. It looks like it's pulling away hard though right now, so I'm not sure how you know valuable or tangible this will be. Um, but what's the video? Okay, so oh, that's what it is. Sorry, I'm looking at the screen that I'm streaming on the other side, and I'm like, why is the video quality so low? Because I had it set on low quality. That's why. Because otherwise, if the quality is low, I mean, you won't be able to see these numbers, which is rather unfortunate. Um, so, anyways, pulling back to this, a potential entry. It's a very narrow UFO. It's got an overlap up top, but it really depends on where the moving average will calculate. As we see right here, the moving average is at 89856, and that's where pricing is currently right now, 89675. So, as price, let's say, if price were to move up, do we think that the moving average, which is currently at right about here, I would say at 89. Sorry, 89856, about here. Do we think that if price move does that, do we think that they're gonna meet, somewhere near these UFOs? And the answer, unfortunately, is no. Um, and just for that reason, I think it's probably best if we just skip on this one. So I'll keep looking on the other screen while we still focus on futures. The euro seems to be going towards our way of the trade. Um, of course, we do have our time stop rule, so we do have to pay attention to that. So basically, as soon as the this timer runs out, which is this is right here, 1 minute 53, we're most likely going to be closing this trade at market, unless the euro just suddenly moves sharply towards our stop or our one. So we're gonna hold on a little bit and wait for it. It may surprise us. It has happened before, where it just goes straight to Q1, or goes straight to our stop. Either one is an acceptable result from what we're doing here. And we do have a screenshot entry, so we're all good on that. Come on, Euro, give us a little bit of a boost towards where we're looking to get our T1 so we can keep this trade alive and then just do a trail stop, which is again, okay, so we do have a confirmation that this is not T1. So we're going to close it at market. We're going to take a screenshot of this, 2023 and 18, 6E, 15 minute. This is exit time, stop, small win. Funny enough, you know, it's not the best of setups, but we can actually take this at market again. Um, Actually, no, we can't. I apologize for that. We cannot. The reason why, this moving average, as you see, is already above this UFO, and I thought that this one was already in here, but it's actually not. It's a little, as you see, it's below it. The way I had it before was like this. And I'm like, wait a minute, that's not how it is. That's why you did go all the way to the back. So we cannot take this trade at market. However, we can set it up to take it right here at 85.85. Sorry, at 105.85 is the place where we need to do it. Which, as you see, I've already put it on. Um, just looking at a couple of the things that are happening here. So it looks like the crude oil has shifted above the moving average, and it has made the climate unconfirmed. So we can certainly watch that. But again, it's unconfirmed, and we only have 15 minutes in our session. The EM has reconfirmed itself as a down climate. Overlapping UFOs is always great, except for when you want to take a trade. Um, if this were to shoot up, could we potentially skip this first UFO and go in on the second one? It's very tough to tell. It's currently moving that way. On the I'm gonna have my finger on the trigger, but I can't. 82, that would be here. But see, it looks like it did touch that initial UFO. The reason why this is not the best of trades is because, we would have had to take it down there at the 81, and our stop would have had to be up here at 85, 25, which was in this year. To move it up, it had to be all the way up at 87.75. And at that point, that's no longer a safety target. That's a large, target, which is not a scenario you want to be in. And it does not look like this UFO would have worked either. As you see, the moving average is right in front of the UFO. It's right there. And we needed it to be at 82. So it was very close, but did not quite work out for us. Um, NASDAQ unconfirmed. All right, the Dow is moving quite a bit. So if we were to kind of pull this back a little bit, um, oh, that's what it is. Okay, not quite sure why it's taking sweet time to load. I know I had some issues like this a long time ago, but they all got resolved. Okay, or at least so I thought. Never fun when this randomly happens. There it is. Okay, I just had to do that. Okay. Nothing to trade on the Dow here. As we see, the moving average is at the 34,060. Um, and we do not have a UFO there. The Russell is already on the 6th out of 5, and the spread on the climate is half time the um, standard deviation, so we're not going to get there anytime soon. The only one that is kind of potentially in play would still be the ES. Um, Again, a very similar situation to what we had before, overlapping UFOs, which is just not a good look, right? Getting in at 81 and having your stop all the way at 87.75 is just not something that I want to get into, because at that point it's no longer a safety target, it is a wishful target. Um, well, sometimes we just have to wait a little. Unfortunately, that's just one of those times. We had a few setups today, right? We had the ES, we had the Nasdaq setup, and then we had the Euro setup, and then we currently already still have a Euro setup, um, that didn't quite make it to our entry, but it's certainly moving the way we expected it to move, right? And I believe that would have been our T1 from the earlier trade had we not canceled it. But again, I think I've mentioned this a few times before too. Um, I've tried to prove the time stop wrong by tracking data and just figuring out, okay, how much money that this will make me leave on the table. Uh, well, while I did leave some money on the table, right, I did cancel trades that would have made money. It also saved me from a lot of, stop loss. When I did the balance, I think I did the study over, it was like 4 or 6 months, I forget what it was, of data. Um, it consistently was saving me more money than it was, having me leave money on the table. So, you're more than welcome to retest that data. Um, I'm happy with what it's doing, and that's why I utilize that rule. And in case I didn't explain it properly earlier, the time stop rule just basically means, whenever you get filled, you kinda throw a vertical line. That's what I do because 'cause I'm just pretty visual like that. We give it 3, you know, minute increments. So in this scenario, it's like 2-minute increments. We give it essentially 6 minutes for this trade to get to our T1, this a 1-to-1. So we just wanna take the risk off at 1-to-1. And this should be happening, a lot of the time, right? We wanna take the risk off because once the risk is off, then, your money's back in your pocket. If it stops out, you didn't lose anything, you didn't make anything, it's fine. You just kinda you participated in the market, didn't, make money, didn't lose money. Um, the T2s and the trail stops on the way down or on the way up whenever you're trailing it, those are the trades that are gonna grow the account. But you want to take care of the overall health of the account by making sure that you are following your plan, your procedures, your trade rules. You're more than welcome to imitate or mimic exactly what we're doing here, as long as it works with your personality. um, I can tell you for a fact that when I'm presenting, I'm definitely a little bit slower than what I would be when I'm just pulling the trigger and trading myself. As I said before, the easier thing is to just do a screen recorder. So that way you don't have to worry about, oh, I didn't take my screenshot. I didn't do that. You have to be laser focused on making sure your entry stops and targets are on point, especially when the markets are moving like crazy. But you do not want to miss out on the data to have some pictures, some videos of what you're doing. I think that's extremely important because if you don't, it just simply slows you down that much when you're trying to review what you've done and how you can improve. All right. So other than that, folks, it's been it's been a pretty, I would say it's been a decent session. We've thrown what, 3 trades and we have a 4th one set up here, or was it 2 trades and we have the 4th one? Let's see. Whenever there's action, it's always more fun. Yeah, so we've had 3 total trades and the 4th one is set up. Not a bad stint for an hour's worth of work. Um, if you have any questions, if you have any comments, if you have any concerns that you wanna discuss, you're more than welcome to send to me. You can go to tradewithufos.com/Boyan, and you'll get your questions answered there. If you feel like you don't want to post it on a website like that, you're more than welcome to go to send me an email rather to Boyan at predictive.com. All right, so that's my email. If you have any questions, any comments, anything you want to discuss, you'd rather get like a bit of a one-on-one situation set up, you're more than welcome to do that. And so if there's no questions, I'm gonna go ahead and close the session out, and I will catch you all next time. In a couple minutes, and we'll go from there. Alrighty, folks. Again, thank you so much for joining me today. It's a pleasure to present these sessions every month with you. And then, of course, if you have any questions, feel free to send them my way. Thank you so much and have a wonderful rest of the week. I will catch you next time. Take care.